Hello and welcome to a brand new installment of Nintendo News Report for Thursday, October 18th, 2018. I'm your host, Donald Terriel, and joining me tonight is we have one of our regulars and a friend from away who's hasn't been on in quite a while, actually. So let's
hmm
kick off with Justin Berube. Hello, Justin.
Hey, everybody. How's it going?
Yeah, and Justin, we need to have a talk a little bit later on because you've been saying
Sure.
some pretty weird things in the Slack chat.
Yeah, if you want to, whatever.
Yeah, and the man who is either up way too late or way too early, depending on how much sleep he's got in the last few hours, Mr. Don Koopman. Hello, Don.
Hello. I just woke up, so I've had way too much sleep right now.
Oh, okay. It's just where it's like what 3 o'clock in the morning where you are now.
4 a.m.
Four. Oh, right. Extra hour. And don't. I'm not even going to ask what's going to happen when we do the time when we fall back a week before you do.
Yes.
Daylight savings time is a scam. Anyway, uh, just I got a brief bit of what I've been playing here. I'm playing for NWR Review here. I was lucky enough to get the code for Valkyria Chronicles,
Hmm.
the original, the one with the annoying reporter and no grenadiers. So I think that's probably the biggest change as to what I'm used to from four, but I've played a bit. I played the first one originally on PS3. I think I own the remastered version on PC and PS4 technically, but I don't really have a way to play that right now. So the Switch version is a nice way to play it, especially since I was able to play it during a very particularly boring meeting today.
I mean, that's what that game designed to do, is just have a bit of a time waster. I mean, it's a really good game. Feel still very strongly about it, but it feels weird going back to it after playing 4 so much.
Yeah, it's although it's a much shorter much shorter game than four. Like I think it's like a third to a half the length from what I've seen on like the howlongtobeat.com. But I think the thing I'm most excited about is honestly getting to play with the characters from Skies of Arcadia again.
Yes. I forgot about that. Jeez. How long is the last time since I played Valkyria Chronicles? Couldn't be that long ago, can it?
Let's see. Did you play it on PS4? Because it came out there a couple of years ago.
I might have. I'm not completely certain about that. Hmm.
Yeah,
Play so
and
many games, you
ironically,
lost track of what you played.
I mean, this is a problem for me in general, man.
yeah. Have you looked behind him lately, Justin?
Hey, I've got a lot of games too. So,
I have games.
do
Yes.
I have time to
So
play all my games? Probably not, but I've got games. I will say that.
yeah, and somehow we've ended up with Joseph Stalin in the chat room. I'm not even going to ask, but instead I'm going to throw it to Don because Don, you've been playing something that I guess won't be out for a couple of weeks, but is also a giant freaking RPG.
Yes, I've been playing a lot of those as of late, I feel. Before the show, we've been listing them down, and I feel this is likely going to be my seventh RPG in a very short span of time.
Hmm.
So yeah, I played 3 hours of the complete build of Diablo 3 at Nintendo today. There are no restrictions to this. They just told us do whatever you want, man. If you want to go to a already created file, you can do that. If you want to start from the beginning, you can do that too. Do whatever you want. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I'm guessing they're not going to try and restrict the discussion of a game that came out when like 6 years and three jobs ago for me.
Hey, Dark Souls still did it, man. I'm not gonna go into it, but Dark Souls still restricted you in some ways during the preview period.
But isn't Nintendo publishing that here? Or I don't.
I
No,
I,
it,
I I'm
it
not. I don't think so.
I think it's still an Activision Blizzard thing, like Diablo 3 is here, but Nintendo's handling a lot of the marketing for it.
Okay. Well, that
So
could
they,
be
so they
why
might send a code to Europe. I don't know.
you can't speak about weird things.
Yeah. So I'm not completely 100% that Nintendo will send out codes for this one. Who knows? But yeah, I got to play Necromancer. Got to play what's this? There's like regular sword dude in that game called again.
Warrior.
I guess we'll just call it Warrior for time's sake. But yeah, I played Necromancer, did Warrior. I played a couple of characters that were pretty low level, so they were pretty early in the game, just to have like limited options and see how I would do. Which the result was, I'm doing okay, but I think these attacks that they've chosen at the beginning are not the best. Like the warrior had like this spike attack where a bunch of spikes would go up, and it would do some pretty decent damage, but the enemies always had to be close by. Well, with the Necromancer, that was a pretty overpowered character, I think about level 50, and it was pretty well into the game, and I could just use a spirit attack from the distance and just drain their energy from far, far away. So I had like 2 different experiences in that specific front. Other than that, I just went through a bunch of missions, and yeah, it's just still Diablo 3. You move around, have attacks all over across your controller. So A, B, X, Y, L, Z, L, and ZR. You can all spread them around and do it the way you like. You can use the R stick to flick around to do a dart roll. A new thing they implemented is if you play with separated Joy-Con, which I played for most of the way through. You can actually give the little flick to do the dart roll instead of flicking the R stick, which is an interesting idea. I'm not sure if I like it. I might turn it off once the game comes out. But at least it's an option for those who quickly want to roll out of the way. Because pretty much if you go into one of the later dungeons in the game, a good chance is that the enemies will just try to put you in a corner and just start to destroy you from there. Because the AI in the beginning is pretty non-existent. They are not very smart at all. But as soon as you get to the latter half of the game, they use very specific tactics to put you in a specific way and not get you out of it at any moment during the game.
Now, how's this game run on Switch? Because I remember when it came out on PC, my PC was not the minimum requirements, and it ran terribly.
It runs pretty much good. I played it both in handheld and television. I would say that on the television, I would say the lettering is a bit small. They kind of adjust that for handheld mode. But for the rest, as the game itself is concerned, I had a bunch of situations where loads of enemies were on screen, and I had like 0 problems at all. This game is really well optimized for Switch.
It's good to hear.
And that'll be out October, I believe October 2nd is the release date on that one. So
you mean November 2nd?
Yeah, November 2nd, sorry. Yeah, so it sounds like it'll be fun. Is this a good starting point for somebody who's never actually played a Diablo game like me?
Yeah, Diablo, I think like games of this ilk are pretty easy to get into. Every time I go like a game like Gauntlet or Heroes of Ruin, how it was on 3DS, or Diablo, I feel that like after the first half hour, I sort of get in the groove and never let go, because the gameplay in itself is pretty understandable. Just walk around and use of the various attacks. But it needs to be a thing you like. You can play alone or cooperate with other people. Especially now with the Switch that you can do it over local play or internet. It feels like it's really well suited for that. So most of my adventures during that 3-hour period are mostly solo, and I still had a really good time with it.
Sounds good. So, yeah, I've already got one third-person looter on the go with Monster Hunter, and I'm not sure if I have the time to commit to getting really far into another one.
That's fair.
Yeah. But the other more recent thing that you've been playing, and Justin, you got a little bit into as well here, just a bit ago, was Starlink, which of course we have.
Well, let me share my Starlink obtaining it story. So, because a lot of people are having this issue, and I want this to be on record because it seems kind of weird. But yeah, I ordered Starlink from Best Buy, and I was away for a few days. I just picked it up today from my house, opened it up, and there's no game inside the box. And this is happening all over the place from people who've ordered from Best Buy. So luckily I was able to return it. I thought it was going to be a huge hassle, like, oh man, this guy's stealing the game. But no, they just gave me another one. No questions asked, really.
I have the feeling if this issue is widespread enough, they probably had a note in the computer like, if someone brings up a game, like brings up a Starlink that's got no cartridge in it, just give it to them.
Well, they didn't bring that up at all. They didn't say anything about that. They just, without even looking on the computer, were like, well, okay.
Well, maybe you already read the notes. It's like, okay, we are prepared for this. Oh,
Yeah,
somebody
I
came
hope.
in. Here you go.
Yeah, maybe. It didn't
Yeah.
seem like that, but maybe. It was pretty quick, so. Except the weird thing was, they didn't have any of them out on the shelf. I went to just go swap it out, but they had to go get my Starlink out of the back. My new one, I guess.
Maybe it's doing better than we all than I thought it would. I didn't really, even with Star Fox being in the game on the Switch version, I figured, this is a new thing for Ubisoft. I didn't think it would be a big hit, but
I wouldn't use that as any metric because there's so many times I've gone to Best Buy on a release date and they just have, even post-release date, a few days after, nobody's put it on the shelf yet.
okay. But Justin, my question is, I saw you drop something in the Slack chat earlier. Like, you actually want the digital version?
Yeah, I mean, there's I think it's called the Digital Deluxe version, which actually for $80 comes with, I think, everything available right now. And you don't have to keep tapping toys every week. Because I think the way Starlink works now is you can scan your toys and they'll work without having to be rescanned again for 7 days.
Yeah.
Now here's something I noticed briefly playing, and I'm not sure if there's a way around this. I was using this, I don't know what they're calling it, this doohickey that holds the Joy-Con and Starlink shift. All right, I'm playing with this. You know, I don't want it to reach over and grab my toys and stick them on. So I press the pause menu and try to figure out how I can do it digitally, I guess you'd say, like without having to do it, because I've already unlocked them, and I couldn't figure out how to do it.
Yeah.
It wouldn't work. Even some of the digital stuff they give you, because there's a few digital weapons and things like that they give you to use. I couldn't figure out how to switch. But once I switched the controllers to the Pro controller, those options became very easily available. So I don't know if I'm missing something.
If you are playing with the controller stand for Starlink on Nintendo Switch, what a title, because you can buy this separately, so that's why I saw the name of that. You are forced to use the toys,
But
regardless of what you do.
Even if you have digital toys that came with the set?
Yes.
Yeah, that is stupid. Very, very stupid.
I agree.
Because
for me,
they gave me toys digitally to play with, and they're like encouraging me to use this, and then it says it's unlocked. So I'm like, okay, how do I attach it? And you can't. It's so dumb.
But yeah, the digital version, that's a journey and a half. So when Ubisoft sent over the game to me, they sent a bunch of toys, but then also the digital deluxe edition of Starlink. So I play with the toys for about an hour and a half. I was like, okay, it seems fine. It seems a little cramped, but it seems fine. Then I was like, let's switch to the Pro Controller. Everything was unlocked for me in the digital deluxe edition, and I never went back.
Yep. I'm considering just buying the digital deluxe version and just boxing this collector's item. As far as I'm concerned.
I mean, they're still cool to have as a collector's item. I mean, it's really cool. But man, there's not really a need to, if you don't prefer playing with such a... It's not even a proper Joy-Con grip because it's super flat. So it rests really weirdly on your hands.
Yeah, and you can't see the battery lights either, so... Which you can on the normal grip.
Yeah. And with the digital deluxe edition, you can use any controllers you like. You can use separated Joy-Con, you use the Pro Controller, you can do whatever you want to. In addition to that, you have then all the weapons, which are about 15. Yeah, 15.
Yeah, I think it's 15.
About 10 pilots and 6 different ships. So you have basically everything you need to play out of the box. Because there are a bunch of situations you might not need any of the other pilots if you desperately want to play with Fox, but at the very least you have all the weapons on you, which can be very helpful in a variety of situations across the game.
Now, yeah, I do have a question about those digital weapons while you're on this topic.
Yeah.
I'm thinking when I have this physical version here, I can buy 2 flamethrowers or something and have 2 flamethrowers at the same time. Is there a way to do that on the digital version?
I don't think you can use 2 of the same exact weapon.
Is that also with the physical version? Like if I get a friend's flamethrower and stick it on, would I be able to?
I'm not 100% on that. I just think it will prompt you to use a different weapon since you already are using a flamethrower. Because the game's mechanics are built on using weapon combinations.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be weird to make yourself forcing yourself to use 2 of the same one. I'm not 100% on that, but I don't think it's something that they would necessarily allow.
Okay. Because Carmine and I in our group chat were discussing like, well, it seems possible to do that, but can you? So.
Yeah, because you are kind of rewarded for using different weapon combinations.
Okay.
For example, one of the weapon combinations I use a lot is having a black hole on the left side and then having the fire weapon that shoots like very specific homing missiles towards your opponent. So when you use the black hole on an enemy and then shoot the missiles, that black hole becomes a fire hole, which drains a lot more damage at once. So they want you to experiment with that and make the best out of it. But with the Digital Deluxe Edition, I feel that you get everything you need weapons-wise, so you have the freedom to experiment with that, which I think honestly is the most important thing why I would want Digital Deluxe Edition. At the same time, the pricing situation for the Digital Deluxe Edition is weird across regions. And I'm not sure if I would recommend buying the Digital Deluxe Edition from Europe, because for some ungodly reason, that version is €100. Well, in America, it's $80. So if I have an American Switch account, you might want to consider buying it from America.
And I think most of the people that are watching this live certainly will have access to a US Switch account if it's not their primary.
Yes, definitely. And also, in addition to that, it's a universal ROM, so you still get all the languages out of the box. So if you have a smaller child who doesn't necessarily cannot play in English, you still have the option to play in any language that you want.
Another thing that's pushing me toward digital a little bit with this one in my recommendation is there is a huge download, it looks like, when I stuck the physical cart in my Switch. It took me about an hour to download that update or whatever.
Yeah, you have to download like a 6 gig update, don't you?
Yeah, something like that. But I have a question about that, which maybe you can answer, which is, since I already have the physical version, if I download the digital deluxe version, will that create a separate Switch icon?
Yes, it will.
Wonderful. I just love when they just suck the gigs out of my SD card.
Is that the case across the board? Because I may or may not be looking at converting some Switch games to digital, so as to never have to pay for a Switch Online account again.
It sort of depends on how the save data is set up. There are a couple of instances where it will create a separate file. Obviously, with games like Torna that are different in download and retail, you have a separate icon. Particularly because some regions don't have a digital version. Europe does not have a digital version of Torna, only a physical one. So you would create 2 different icons from that instance instantly. But there are also games that are set up in a different way across the regions. For let's say Splatoon 2, because they have different servers in each region. So they react to it also very differently.
All right. Yeah. And Cherry Goblin pointing out this thing is 6 gigs and that's turning him off the game. That kind of is too. I just had to do some epic fridge cleaning. get Valkyria on there.
That's like 7 gigs, was it?
Yeah, and I think 4 was 10.
Yeah, so Don, I do have one more question maybe you know the answer to,
Yeah.
because I can't find a lot of answers to these questions online. If I were to buy the digital deluxe edition, could I still use these physical toys in it?
Yeah, you can.
All right.
Absolutely, you can.
With this, I wonder how they expect me to obtain this, but okay. Yeah.
You could still technically use it for like co-op or something, or
Okay.
anything else. Because the second player will just, if you don't have a second controller stand, will automatically be apt to use one of the digital versions of the weapons and ships you have. Again, the situation of that is so weird.
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah, there's like all these questions I have that I'm glad you're answering, because I briefly looked online and couldn't find many people discussing these weird things. So
yeah, it's because people are still like we're playing the game mode, so they're not noticing the weird quirks about it, I feel.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you are on the fence of buying this and don't particularly care about toys, which is a certain group of people for sure, yeah, then if you have the money, go for the digital deluxe edition. If you just want to have the game, go for the standard one. I think it still comes with 2 ships and everything, so you still have plenty of value for your money. I just think that if you want to have the full experience and want to do everything that the game has to offer, which takes about 30 hours, then it's better to have the full version of it. All right.
All right, so that's where we are with Starlink, and I'm presuming we'll have more on that next week. But Justin, have you been playing anything else this week besides the download and install and all the fun stuff?
Yeah, I've been playing Dead Cells. For the last week, I basically beat the game the first time, I guess you could say that. I didn't really know much about Dead Cells, except everybody seemed to be talking about Dead Cells. Like, oh yeah, you got to try this. So I gave it a shot. And I liked it. I still have some mixed feelings on it. I guess it's called a rogue light. Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not too familiar with the genre. So, yeah. So you go through, you die. The first time I went through, it took me about an hour and a half to die. I got pretty far, I guess, which is good, I guess, because this game, every time you play through, you kill enemies and randomly get cells, and those cells are used to unlock permanent upgrades. So I feel like that's one thing I don't like, is I feel like unless you're really, really good at this, you're basically set up to fail right out the bat. So a lot of it's grinding out permanent unlocks. And there is some reward to that, because when you finally get cool stuff, you do feel like a huge power boost. And it is fun. You get different weapon combinations and whatnot. But one thing I will say is it seems like sometimes when you unlock bad weapons, it could be held against you, because then that gets added to the random weapon rotations. So you might be hurting yourself. So it might be smarter on a first playthrough to, I mean, even though you don't know, if you're going to start over, I guess you'd know which weapons are good for your play style, to try and just unlock those so they come up more frequently in the levels.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's one thing I don't really like about it, because it kind of rewards not unlocking things when the goal seems to be unlocking things at the same time. So it's kind of like at odds with each other. But, yeah, I still had fun with it. It was kind of fun to try things out. Like at first, I had no idea what I was doing, so I went with like a balanced build. You get temporary power-ups, I guess, for each playthrough, which increased it through one of the 3 different stats, sort of. And you don't want to do a balanced build, is what I quickly learned in this game. You want to really focus on one thing to jack up your damage rate with that. And my final build that I won with was very turret heavy. It just seemed very overpowered compared to a lot of other things. But yeah, I also found a glitch in this game, which I thought ruined my save file for a while. I did a daily challenge and completed that, and it brought me back to the main menu it brought me back to the main room after I walked through the challenge door. And then I walked off the screen. The camera didn't follow me, and every time I started my game back up, it'd be in that stuck screen. But if you go to the restart the run option, it would fix that. So that was kind of scary for a while, because that was after I beat the game. Like, oh my god, I don't want to have to do all that again. But it's a fun game, and I would recommend it. I don't think it should be as praised as other people are praising it, but it is like the type of game I'd like having around on my Switch to kill some time, because it is fun. The thing that's really making it hard for me to go back for like the more difficult runs, I guess there's like 4 more levels of difficulty to unlock, is that it just seems like to get through the next one, I'm gonna have to grind out a lot more stuff, which is basically me just running through the levels, collecting cells, and just building it up. So like, again, I feel like I'm set out to almost fail for a certain number of hours until I can actually get more things to make it easier. But I don't know, it's still fun. It's really hard game for me to judge because of that.
I feel you. It's not like particularly a game for everyone.
No.
That's the particular thing what it comes down to. The people who play it definitely love it. But I also feel that there's a number of people who will likely be indifferent about it because of the genre and the way that it's set up. And most people who aren't particularly fond of roguelite games in particular, don't seem to play it either way. But roguelite is also a very wide genre of games, because you can apply roguelite mechanics to basically every genre in existence.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely worth checking out. I had fun with it, and especially once I got the first victory, like working towards that was a lot of fun. But like I said, I just feel like the next mountain to climb is like so high, and most of it's just grinding stuff out, that I might go back to it, but it's really a steep hill to push through.
I think that as far as like roguelites, I'm thinking about it right now. Now, one that I got most into, like in recent memory, was like Crypt of the Necrodancer, which is dungeon crawling mixed with a rhythm game, mixed with rogue elements. I mean, Dead Cells is fun, but I'm not sure if I'm like the best person to judge it either.
Yeah, I know I'm not, which is... But those are my quick thoughts on Dead Cells. It's a fun platformer action roguelite with some... People keep saying it's like a Metroid-style game. There's like a map that's like Metroid, but I don't feel like it is at all, so...
I'll likely say Metroidvania style game.
No, there's no such thing as Metroidvania, Daan. It's just Metroid, and then Castlevania stole that, so... I'm not giving them credit.
Hey, what about a pus form?
Yeah, I think there's like 5 people in the world that understand that reference, and they're all in Slack.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
All right, so that'll do it for what we've been playing here. There wasn't a whole lot in the way of big news this week, but probably the biggest story in terms of the sheer amount of time it's going to take to get through all of it is that they've announced what the post-game content is going to be for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. And there is going to be what seems to be one master trainer for every species of Pokemon in the Kanto region, which I believe would be, 151? Maybe 152 if they throw Meltan in there?
Yeah, I was going to ask about that.
Likely 152, yeah, because of Meltan.
Wait. What about alternate forms, the Alolan?
They're still basically the same Pokemon, are they? Except for type changes to certain Pokemon. I mean, Meowth becomes a dark type, I guess.
Meowth becomes a dark type. Sandslash becomes an ice type. Also an ice steel.
At the same time, it's still, outside of design and overall type change, it's still literally the same Pokemon in name.
Yes, but I'm just wondering if there'll be separate challenges just because of that.
I don't know. I don't think so.
I think they're going to stick with the traditional ones, because all they showed in the trailer for that, aside from the maximum hardness fight, was just they intentionally didn't show anything that had an Alolan form. It was just older Pokemon, and most of them using attacks that are super effective on themselves, like Thunder Punching Charizard or Rock Sliding Pinsir.
Right.
I wonder, you think they're going to add Mega Forms to this? Have they said that?
They've shown megaforms, yeah.
Okay, I don't remember that, so
Hmm.
Yeah.
you can add that to the master channel or the master trainers also.
Because I mean, they had sort of something similar with this in the Sun and Moon games. Like there were the collection of trainers with the Eevee forms, but this might be taking it a little bit too far, especially as somebody who's probably not going to see or not going to be able to partake in most of these challenges to begin with.
Hmm.
Yeah, I just want to know what the reward is going to be for doing these, because right now it just does not sound that interesting to me. It's like, oh, look at this. I got to collect all these Pokemon and raise some of them, which are pretty dumb. Like, have fun with your Metapods and stuff like that. But yeah, I want to know what you're going to get if you actually do all of them.
Yeah, like you get titles that you can use in wireless battles, I guess, but they haven't really mentioned anything as a reward beyond that.
I mean, it's Pokemon. There likely is some kind of reward, but it's not gonna be that big of a deal.
And if you get all 152 titles, you can bring in all the other 700 and some odd Pokemon that are not in the game at this point. That would be a can I say the term dick move on YouTube? Because that would be a dick move.
You can only bring
Hmm.
Well, and in other Go news, they finally brought Gen 4 Pokemon to the game. I might actually have to boot up Go because it means I can start running around with a Landshark. Oh God, Dale just brought up the darkest timeline in the chat. For those who aren't in the chat room right now, you get the same thing you get by collecting all the Korok seeds in Breath of the Wild.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's what I'm afraid of.
That that does sound like a thing that they would do. Yeah, well, it may not be as explicit as being what that reward is. Am I allowed to spoil it? Are we past the
Yes,
statute?
nobody cares. Nobody cares.
It is a
Nobody's gonna even get it. Trust me, I tried. Unless you're
it,
gonna
is-
cheat, and then you've already know anyway.
it is a literal pile of poop.
Yeah, so
It's a golden poop.
you're gonna get shiny Pikachu poop if you do this.
Or shiny Eevee poop if you're playing Let's Go Eevee.
Hey.
Yes.
Are we kind of excited here for Pokemon Let's Go?
I have way too many questions about how true a remake of Yellow this is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
And well, Don, you should know as well as anybody about why I'm kind of done with motion controls on the Switch right now, especially in RPGs. So
has this to do with a game from Tetsuya Nomura?
yeah. Yes, and for those who don't know, Don had a second opinion review of the World Ends With You Final Remix, and we are we are probably two of the three most disappointed people on the planet with that game.
I mean, not go too deeply into this, but you're absolutely right. God, every time we start talking about it, it just feels like such a bummer. And it's the most disappointing thing is that it's not even the controls. It's the fact they've been teasing like new content for about 10 years, and we got a new singular day
That ends on a cliffhanger.
that ends on another baity cliffhanger note. This is no more nonsense to the highest degree.
Like, look, we know what's going to happen, so just delay Kingdom Hearts 3 and give us a true ending.
I think at this point, they're finally done with Kingdom Hearts 3. They just want it out there now.
Oh, is there going to be any DLC for that game? What, are they going to milk
it? They've never done DLC for a Kingdom Hearts game before.
But the last mainline Kingdom Hearts game released before downloadable content was even invented on console.
No, the last one was 0.2.
I just remember back many years ago, my girlfriend was playing a Kingdom Hearts game on her flip phone, and
I believe they ended up porting that to the DS.
No. This is a different one. Before that,
No, there were only
Isn't it?
2 mobile games in Kingdom Hearts history.
Are you sure about that? I think
Yeah,
one coded and whatever the
and
object name is
Key.
called. Yeah. But when I'm talking like because I'm talking about in comparison to Kingdom Hearts 2, like the last main numbered Kingdom Hearts, which
Hmm.
came out on the PS2 in 2006, like 2 months before Oblivion,
Hmm.
really kicked off the era of downloadable content that we're in now.
I mean, if you could basically say mainline games, I would say that the last big mainline game in that series would be Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah, which was a 3DS game, admittedly, but
I
I
mean, they later thrown in 2.5, no, in 0. No, 2.8. They thrown it in 2.8. Which I feel was necessarily to get all the important plot points out there before Kingdom Hearts 3.
all right. The name of this game I'm thinking of on the flip phone is Kingdom Hearts VCast.
that sounds like something that I don't know if Verizon commissioned that because that's where that.
He actually developed it. And it's
I
not
don't I don't think they acknowledge it at any point, and I know my Kingdom Hearts pretty well. I don't think they acknowledge it ever again.
No, I don't think it's actually canon, but it is a Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah. I used to work in the cell phone industry, and I heard a lot about VCast, so that's all I could think of now when I hear that. Yeah, original release date October 1st, 2004. So
Wow.
no wonder they dropped it.
God.
So this is the missing. The game probably has all the things that tie the games together. You just don't remember it. Probably.
Well, okay,
No.
so now they do need to delay Kingdom Hearts 3 because now we need to get this re-released.
But now that we are already in a no more tangent, I want to throw down a bet, Donald.
Okay.
When does the remake of Final Fantasy VII release?
Well, I was going to say 2027 because of the fact that it wasn't coming out until after Kingdom Hearts 3 did, but if by some miracle that does actually come out, I'm going to say it's 2022 on the PS5.
Yeah, I think it'll be a PS5 launch title. The first.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it will be something on PlayStation 5 for sure.
But I'm saying it'll be launch day, but only the first chapter.
I mean, they already said it would be episodic, so you're not wrong.
Haven't they already T-tabled the game twice since that came out? Like, I think they announced it at PSX 2015.
No, then they announced it E3 that year to get a Shenmue 3.
Yeah, they announced the game, like they announced the game existing at E3, but I think it was at PSX that year that they went and announced that there was going to be episodic. Because I remember being on a podcast when it broke and one of my co-hosts audibly swearing. Because Final Fantasy VII has been re-released enough, thank you.
Tetsuya Nomura.
Some of our Square employees drink. So we've got 151 of these master trainers coming to Pokemon this fall, and there seems to be 151 Switch bundles to go alongside of it. Because we got the announcement today, or this Monday actually, that there was going to be a bundle for Diablo 3 in North America. So
also in Europe.
Yeah, so that is coming to Europe as well, and so that would be what, a bundle for 3 bundles for 3 weeks in November because of the Smash bundle coming out on what, the 9th?
Yeah, they're all coming in November.
Yeah, so we've got
excited about this.
You're also. I hope you're taking extra hours at work, Justin, because you got to afford this somehow.
Yeah, I'm gonna afford it somehow. Somehow I'll afford this. I'm already planning to piece together parts from different bundles that I don't need to sell it. Like, I'm gonna take the one Switch unit screen and I pair it with the gray Joy-Con and get rid of that for about $200. Get some money back. I have all the cool pieces for myself.
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think at this point, if you're in the market for a Switch this fall, do you go for one of these bundles or do you just go straight to the Fortnite bundle?
You don't know the Fortnite. That's not a bundle. Don't get that.
It's also the cheapest
exclusive skins and V-Bucks.
And it's also the cheapest option. It's the only one that's MSRP because the game's free to play.
Yeah.
Yeah, but let's be honest. You're probably buying Smash this holiday if you're getting a Switch. Or Pokemon. Diablo, that's up in the air more. I feel like of all the bundles, that's going to be the rare one.
I mean, for Diablo, it's more meant for the gamer coming into the Nintendo ecosystem,
Mm-hmm.
which is a good thing. It's a good thing to have variety, absolutely. But yeah, Smash and Pokemon definitely more meant for the Nintendo gamer. Though, I will have to say, the Smash bundle is not really that exciting.
I disagree. I'm way more excited for that bundle than the...
The red Joy-Con has a singular horizontal stripe. I'm sorry, my man. It's not that exciting.
And
you know
also,
what that stripe means to us Smash players? Do you know what that stripe means?
You know that you can buy the dock separately on the Japanese My Nintendo store, right?
yeah, but you need like a Japanese My Nintendo account, and you need a Japanese credit card to spend any money on
No,
that
you don't
shop.
need a Japanese credit card.
Oh.
I bought stuff there before.
You
Oh,
need
nice.
a mailing address?
I have a mailing address. Yeah, I know multiple people in Japan.
We might have to talk after the show.
Yeah.
I'm getting the Pikachu and Eevee Joy-Con, my man.
Yeah, yeah, I think if I was getting into it this fall, like I would probably go with the Let's Go bundle just because it has like you'll have a copy of the game that you'll actually be able to get on launch day, as
Sure.
opposed to the Smash Brothers bundle, which it comes with a code that doesn't even work until December 7th.
Yeah, if anybody wants to buy that code, just let me know.
I mean, in the code might just be a preload code where you already downloaded and have it on your system until then.
Yeah, that'll just it just sits there and taunts you for a month.
That's fine.
If you go over the icon, it's Kirby going, "Hi."
Yeah. And don't forget, we got second, 9th, and 16th, and then the 23rd is Black Friday. So they're going to bring out another. I don't know if they just blow that Walmart bundle out to everybody or do another system bundle. We might have a bundle every week in November.
I don't think there's going to be a Black Friday bundle. Nintendo usually doesn't release. I mean, I gotta take that back. They have done some special edition 3DSs on Black Friday, so I guess it is possible. But I feel like it's not going to happen with the Switch because what else? What other bundle would they have other than the ones they've announced?
How about one with Mario Odyssey and Breath of the Wild in the box?
They may do a special bundle like that, but I'm thinking like a special edition Switch is what I'm saying.
Okay, yeah, because when they've done bundles for Black Friday, usually like I remember a few years ago they had the one with Smash Brothers for Wii U and Splatoon, like the Smash Splat bundle or whatever it was, and that actually did pretty well considering it was the Wii U.
Mm-hmm. I mean, they will definitely do a bundle where they bundle the hardware with 2 pieces of software. That's for dang sure. I just think it will be likely more a situation of, say, maybe Mario Odyssey and then maybe Mario Kart included. Just have a proper Mario bundle.
Well, I'm thinking more like Mario Kart, and then they had to find something to do with all those copies of 1-2 Switch.
Or even put Mario Tennis on there because people will buy Mario Kart regardless, as we've proven this generation.
Yeah, and they could actually add on to that bundle, tack on a little bit higher of a fee and include a 12-month subscription to the Nintendo Switch Online service because both of those games are online.
I mean, they definitely could, yeah.
Or although, I mean, because that bundle at Walmart is what, 3? It's the same as a normal Switch bundle, like the Fortnite bundle and a game. So
I've seen that Fortnite bundle a lot over these last 2 days, man. They're everywhere here too.
You know what? You know what? I just had an idea. Let's take this Nintendo Switch Online bundle we've come up with. Let's throw in a cell phone plan with it so people can talk online.
Well, you do that. I mean, I would probably end up doing that over Wi-Fi if it came to it.
You're going to need a cell phone. At least
you can't. Well, I mean, if they didn't want to get into that game, they could at least throw like you could probably get $100 Android tablet at this point that would run the Switch Online app just fine.
Tape that to the box with some duct tape, and you got one.
Although that would be one really weird bundle because you'd have something with like a 6.2-inch screen that you have to use for voice chat, and then you'd have the Switch itself. So you'd basically be doing 2 for the price of 1 at that point.
Maybe Samsung has some Galaxy View tabs they want to get rid of.
Well, I'm sure they're. Oh, if they really wanted to blow up, they just do old Note 7s. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guy.
All right. So if we're talking about blowing up Black Friday, quite literally, it's probably time to wrap this puppy up. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for listening. However, you're getting the show, whether it be through the YouTube channel, youtube.com/Nintendo_NWR, or on iTunes, Google Play, the podcatcher of your choice. You can find all those links over at the mothership, NintendoWorldReport.com. Patreon.com/NWR to support the site that supports us. And if you have any money left over after that, you can go to patreon.com/Nintendon and support Daan, which we also do. Yes. And if you want to chat up these fine folks individually on social media, Daan is at Nintendon. That's with 2 A's. And Justin is, of course, at King Nintendo Fan.
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, and at some point, I swear I will go back and purge my Twitter account of a lot of things, so I can actually start using it again. Don't worry, Don. You're at least safe.
Okay.
All right. But thanks again for watching, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Good night.